Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to be working in Autocad and I'm going to create the angle spacer. So to do that I'm just going to use kind of straight out of the box Autocad with no special settings or menus or whatsoever. So I'm going to click on this big start drawing box right here. And then also just to show you what settings I have. So I have, if you go to the bottom, you look at your status bar down here and you click those three lines for the customization. I have all of these turned on. So you don't have to have all yours turned on usually when you're working in drawings, but just for simplicity, I have them all turned on. So what that does is it kind of gives you like light switches. So if these are checked, then you're going to see the status kind of light switches down here, or status bars or menus. So that just having these turned on, they just show up down here. And then if you have these buttons, if you click it and they turn blue, that means that option is on. So right now I have my grid on. If I click this grid mode, you'll see my grid goes away. So it's just kind of like an on-off switch basically for these. Usually I like drawing with my grid off because all those lines, they get kind of crazy. So, and also in this drawing, notice that I have my dynamic input is turned off. What else? Oh, and then also I'm in decimal units. So if you click this down arrow, you can go to architectural, decimal, engineering, fractional, change your units however you want. But for this drawing, it says that the dimensions are in inches, but they're decimal inches. So I'm going to click on make sure I'm in decimal inches. And then also you want to get into the habit of your layers. So you don't really want to ever draw anything on layer 0. So if I click on my layer properties, you'll notice that that's the only layer that I'm given. So I'm gonna create a new layer. So to do that, I'm gonna go up to this new layer button here. And then I'm just gonna rename this like object. And I'm gonna, let's make the line type like 0.3 maybe, or 0.35. I can leave the line weight there. The line type continuous, color, you can make the color whatever you want. I'm gonna leave it as white, which is actually black on my screen because I have my background is white. So then I want to, if you go down to your object layer, and I'm gonna hit this stack of papers with the check mark by it, that makes my object layer current. So now anything that I draw is gonna be on that object layer. So now we can get started. So to start this angle spacer, I'm gonna start off drawing my spacer in the bottom left corner. So I'm gonna just type in L for line. And I get into the habit of using the shortcut keys instead of finding them up here in the ribbon. It just makes it easier and faster. So the shortcut for line is L. And then I'm gonna press enter. And now it's asking me for specify the first point of my line. So I'm gonna start at the origin. So I'm gonna type in 0, 0, and that just tells me that it's going to be 0 in the X direction, 0 in the Y direction, and I'm going to press enter, and you'll notice that my line is starting at the origin here, which is where my UCS icon is also based. So for the next line, you notice that line is straight to the right by 3 inches. So my next point, I'm going to type the @ symbol. That tells AutoCAD that I'm going to use relative coordinates. So I'm going to type in the @ symbol 3, 0. And so that just means I'm going over to the right 3 units, 3 inches to the right, and I'm not going up or down because that's a 0. So it's just going to be a straight line to the right. I'm going to press enter. Let me zoom in a little bit without clicking off my line. So then the next point is going to go straight up, and it's going to go straight up 1.5 inches straight up in the Y. So for my next point, I'm going to type in @ and that's going to be 0, 1.5. And then the next is kind of at an angle. So again, I'm going to type in at and doing some math. So that's going to go, it's going to be negative 0.75, comma, and that's going to go straight up from there, 0.5. And then I want to go from there, I want to go over to the left 1 inch. So the coordinates for that is going to be at -1, because we're going to the left, so that's going to be a negative direction. And then comma 0, because we're not going to go up or down. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the escape key, because I could figure out what that angle is and all that good stuff. But to make it easier, I'm going to start my line back over here where I started. So I'm going to type in L for line, press enter, and I'm going to make sure that I click on the endpoint of my original line. If you don't see that object snap come up, then if you go over to your object snaps here and click the arrow, or the down arrow, and make sure your endpoint is checked, and then you'll see the green box pop up when you're trying to make your line here. So from here I'm going to go straight up. This is going to be at 0, 0.25. Press enter, and that's going to go to the right, and that's going to be at 0.75, 0. It's going to go straight up from there, which is going to be at 0, 0.5. And then I accidentally clicked off of that line. Let me start back where I was. I accidentally hit something with my hand. So I'm going to go back to my line from here. I'm going to go at -0.75, 0. There we go. And then from here, I'm going to go straight up. That's going to be at 0, 0.5. And then from here, we're just going to connect for where this line ends with this one. So I'm going to just draw it up here and click the endpoint of this line. So that kind of completes our outside shape for our angle spacer. So then to find the circle, so we need to find the center point of where that circle is. So I'm going to go up to the circle and go to center diameter option here. And then it's going to ask me, where's the center point going to be? So the center point is going to be, it's going to be 2, 1, because we're measuring this from the origin. So that's the center point of that circle. And then the diameter, it says what it specify radius of circle or diameter. So I'm going to type in 1 for the diameter. And there's that. So we're not going to put the dimensions on here, but one thing you might want to do is if I go up to my annotate and then click on center mark, and you click on the circle here, it's going to put the center mark for your circle, and click on the escape key. So that's kind of how to create that angle spacer. And like I said, we don't need to put the dimensions on here yet because we're just starting off. So the dimensions are just there for you to kind of know where the lines are going to be situated. So just if you go up to the big red A here and go to save, and then I'm going to save this as angle spacer. I already have one, don't I? Angle spacer. I'm going to name this angle spacer 2 because I don't want to save over whatever that original one was. Hit save. And so, yeah, there you go. There's our angle spacer. I hope that helped. And you can do these different ways, but this method, I use the absolute coordinates. So I hope that helped. All right, peace.